and welcome to your session for this week. So let's start by setting our posture, feet roughly hip width apart, spread out the toes and make a nice connection down to the floor through your feet. So you want to feel that nice evenly grounded position. From there we think of standing up nice and tall, lifting and lengthening up through the crown of the head, but without being tense and rigid. So we just soften the arms and relax the knees. We bring the hands onto the belly and we start to notice that gentle rise and fall, which is our normal natural breath, and we'll stay with that as we're loosening off. So just allowing the arms to come and rest down by the side. We're going to take the arms up, away, overhead, and just make a nice gentle arm circle to start with. So we're reaching up and we're circling around, and as I'm doing this movement, just maintaining the rest of my posture, allowing the shoulders to come in and out with that movement a little bit. So I'm going to take a couple more through here. Just enjoy that nice big stretch through those shoulders, and let's go one more time. From here, let's take the arms the other way. So I'm coming up and over, and then just simply down the front. I might start to think about the breathing a little bit more now. Just check those knees are still soft, and then inhale and exhale. Reach and release. We'll take a couple more times, so those shoulders should be starting to feel a little bit warmer already. We're going one more time through those circles, and then let those arms come down by your side. We're going to send our bottoms back, so sticking our bottoms out. We're going to stand tall and lift into a little star pose. So we come down and we just balance away, not too far. We're just aiming to warm up a little bit through those knees and hips here. Just get a nice little bit of gentle movement. And I might just even point the toe to the floor. So if I don't feel confident with letting the leg float fully away, then it's okay just to take that little tap down to the side. We'll take a couple more through here, down and away. One more to either side. Very nice. Now we're going to stay with the legs. So leave the arms this time and just there, and a little knee lift. Just a little squat and a knee lift. So we're just giving the shoulders a bit of rest, getting a little bit more movement into knees and hips. And again, if you feel a bit wobbly, maybe don't take the leg up, or just do a tap forward. Squat and tap, squat and tap. There we go. And then if you are feeling that challenge of balance, knee, squat to knee. Just one more to either side here. And then coming back to standing nice and tall. We're going to take our feet out a little bit wider and just take a nice easy twist here. So lift up the back foot, let your arms be loose, and just allow the whole body a nice little bit of freedom of movement through the whole body, from toes to top of head. We're going to do a couple more twists, and then from here, come back to centre after this one, and relax it down. Resetting those feet back into hip width apart. Bring your arms up for me here. Open them away wide. I've got palms facing down, and I'm going to take a little twist away, coming back to centre. So it's a little bit more of a controlled twist here. I come up and I take a little side bend, and I reach up and over, a little side bend. I come back and I go twist and twist over the top. And let's think about the breathing a little bit more now on these repetitions. So exhale, turn and twist, control. Inhale back to centre. Exhale, turn and twist, control. Inhale back. Exhale over the head. Inhale back. Exhale there. Inhale back. And we'll just work through that sequence a couple more times. I'm not locking my hips in position. I am allowing my hips to be free, but it is a little bit more fluid, or a little bit more controlled, I should say, than that fluid twist where the whole body's moving. So this will be our last one through here. Big stretch out there, big stretch out there. And then I release the arms, but I'm coming straight up, overhead, palms together. I draw them down, and then I reach them back up over the top and back down to the front. So it's lift the arms here, make a rainbow, so you're opening to horizontal palms up position but trying to draw back. Bring the hands together and then draw forward, all the way down. So it's all the way overhead, as as far back as you can. Draw the arms down, palms up, thumbs reaching back, hands come together at the top, and then sweep it down. So we're going to take a couple more repetitions through there. So we're nicely working into those shoulders to start with. Okay, let's think about breath. Breathing out. Inhale, drop to the horizontal. Exhale, up and away. Inhale, down. Exhale, big stretch. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. Let's go one more time. Our shoulders are going to be feeling nice and warm now. Draw it down. Reach it up. And release those arms down. Give those shoulders a nice little wriggle and roll. We're going to let that travel down into the arms and give those a shake out as well. And give our legs a little bit of shake out. We've done quite a bit of upper body there, so we're going to get down onto the mats now, and we'll be really focusing on our legs to start with. So we've got a nice little leg section to begin with, so come on down with me. I'm just going to angle my camera down to the floor a little bit more. So coming to rest onto your back. So we've got knees bent, feet on the floor, and if you normally have head support for your floor lying work, then of course you can place your head onto your support. So I'm going to float up my first leg, knee above hip, and from here I'm going to take a straight leg position, so extending up. I want a nice strong foot flexed position, and I'm going to press through the heel and down there. So I'm squeezing through the bottom, and then I'm going to draw out onto a little diagonal. Point the toe to come back in and back up to the top. I'm going to stay on this side, relax, little slide away, point, return, and top. And of course, because I'm doing leg work, I'm focusing on maintaining a nice stable pelvis position. Flex, slide away, point to return, and up to the top. And we're going to work through a few more here on this leg. So just have a little check that you've got that footwork happening correctly. It is quite tricky to work the footwork on this one, so it's flex on the way down and the diagonal, but then point to return to centre line, and make sure you return to centre line as well before you bring the leg back up. So we're doing about 10 and we're nearly there now. So the last couple of reps. And I'm just breathing nicely all the way through. This is our last one. Oh dear, that's hard on that leg. So we're going to bring that down and of course do it on the other side. You'll notice I've got my hands resting on hips, so you can use that to help stabilise, or just let the arms rest away to the side. So other leg comes up, nice straight leg to start with. Doesn't have to be all the way up here, just get it to where it's comfortable is fine for the start position. So then we flex on the way down, slide out to that little diagonal, point, come back to centre line, return to the top. I'm going to work through there for again about 10 repetitions. So it does take a little bit of concentration. I haven't mentioned breathing really because I want you to focus mainly just on the stability of the pelvis. The movement of the leg, there's quite a lot to think about, and of course the footwork does give you that little bit of extra challenge as well. So we're about halfway there now, so nearly done. Just watch out for tension creeping into the shoulders while you're concentrating on maintaining a nice stable pelvis. We don't want that to lead to tension everywhere else, so we're nearly there. We're in our last couple now. That leg's starting to feel as tired as the other one did on the other side. Okay, that's the last one. So all the way up to the top. Oh, and then finishing off there. Well done. If you haven't quite finished, don't worry, because of course I take a little bit of rest time in between each one, so you'll have your time to catch up through the movements if you need to. So I'm just giving everything a little bit of a stretch out through there. I'm going to give my legs a little bit of a shake out maybe there as well, and also going long because I really want to feel that length, particularly in the front of the hips there where it was really challenging. So I just take a couple of breaths there. Okay, I'm going to release it down. Now I'm going to come onto the side straight away here. So coming up and rolling onto my side, coming into a nice comfortable position. Now I'm staying with hip focus for our session this week. So it's going to be plan. So we just had all that really, really strong work, a little bit into the outer hip and thigh to warm up, but now we're going to really go in here. You can have the head supported up on the hand or down on the arm is probably slightly better for the neck. So if you're a bit more comfy, then go there. So we're going to bring the knees in front, float at the feet, so they're just in line with the hips, not super high so it pushes us over about halfway, and we're going to think about breathing. We're going into that slightly deeper, more connected Pilates breath now. So as I inhale, I feel my belly rise, and I exhale, encouraging the breath away. As I breathe out, I'm going to think of lifting that knee up towards the ceiling, and as I inhale, just very lightly knees down. You'll see that I've taken this hand and just moved it out of the way, partly just so you can see more clearly, but also it can just rest wherever's comfortable. So that may be even onto the side of the hip where you're working, or just rest on the tummy so you can feel your breathing there, or just on the floor. You can even take it overhead if you want to have a little stretch out position there. It doesn't really matter, whatever's comfy. What we're thinking, of course, is being fairly relaxed through the upper body, maintaining a stable pelvis position as we work into these deep hip and bottom muscles. When you usually work up with side work to about 15 repetitions, so we're nearly there now. I think this is the last one. I lost count a little bit there, but that feels like about 15. Well done. So I'll give you a little bit of time if you're still going. That's absolutely fine. You might want to give those muscles a little bit of a release out. Now, because you're at home, hopefully you've got something near to you, like a yoga block or an exercise ball or a cushion that you can use that's going to support your top leg now. So I'm just going to grab my prop for doing that, which is over here. Okay, so I've got a bit of a big roller, but you get the idea. So I'm going to pop that top leg onto there, and then my bottom leg you can see is stretching out of the way. Okay, so this is slightly big, like I say, and it's a bit hard as well, but something softer like a cushion or an exercise ball, or even just a rolled up towel would be probably better than this. Now I'm going to think about flexing foot position again. So it's that bottom leg now, flexing there, pushing down through the heel. Again, I'm going to connect into my breathing. Take a breath in to prepare. As I breathe out, I squeeze my leg up. And as I breathe in, press through the heel. Breathing out to lift. Breathing in to lower. The difference here from this one to most of the other exercises is that there is a slight pause with this one. So at the top of this lift here, I want to do a bit of extra little squeeze, as I'm just encouraging that leg to lift a little bit more. So I basically get a stronger activation. So even if the leg doesn't actually go any higher, I still try to do that movement of lifting higher, and it gives me, like I say, strong activation. It's particularly inner thigh, pelvic floor, lower abdominals here. And again, we probably work up to in the region of about 15 repetitions, trying to resist the temptation with this one to bend the leg. So I'm doing an exaggerated version there, but you know what I mean. So it's there, nice straight leg, floating up and down. With the breath as well, makes a really strong abdominal connection. So we're nearly there, last couple of reps. And then when we get to the end, of course, we will have a little bit of a stretch out. Again, I lost count on that one, but I think that's probably about it. So this leg is going to come off here, and we always stretch, of course, with our sideline work. So I'll pop that out of the way. Stretch my legs away, point the toes, take this hand overhead, and take a nice, big, long, full body stretch. I'm going to breathe into the belly and the ribs. Encourage and lengthen. And just thinking about holding balance. And of course, we will go and do those on the other side in a moment, but from here, we're going to come up to sitting, so use this hand for support, and then we'll just ease ourselves up and we'll come to sit. Nice, comfortable sitting position here. So, as always with sitting, it's up to you. You may want to go cross-legged, feet together, legs out. Any of those is absolutely fine. And if you need to sit up a little bit on a cushion or anything, that's okay too. So wherever we are, we're nice and relaxed with the legs, but we're thinking of that sitting posture, lifting and lengthening up so that we're sitting tall, but we're not tense or rigid with it. We're going to be nice and flowy, hopefully, with this one. So this hand is going to give me a bit of support. This arm is coming away to the side, and I take a breath in to prepare. As I exhale, I'm taking a turn, and although my arm starts to move, I want it to be the body really that has the focus. So I breathe out, and I breathe in. I'm going the other way now. The arm is travelling, but don't make it about the arm. Think about the body here. This is where you want this movement. Breathe out, breathe in. When I go over to the side again, it's about the body. So you'll see the arm, but I want you to really focus on my demo, on the body, and then you think of that as well. So breathe out and breathe in. So then once we get going, of course, it turns into quite a nice flow. But like I say, we really do want that focus on being the body movement. Exhale away, inhale, exhale, inhale there, exhale over. We're going to go a couple more to this side, and then of course we do have to repeat it with the other arm. So the muscles activate, of course, slightly differently with the different side focus. Okay. So this will be my last one here, and then this hand is going to come down and just rest. This arm coming away, so let's again inhale, prepare. Exhale, turn, focus on the rib cage here, turning. Look as far as you can. Inhale here, exhale here, focus on this, turning. Inhale, exhale here, focus on lifting here. And then again, get that nice flow going. Lovely. So take a few more on this side to match up to what we did on the other side. So nice big stretch right there. Let's go a couple more. Breath. And it's a really, really nice release, but it's also quite strong actually, this one. Really works deeply into those centre muscles. So this is our last stretch over here. We come back, and then we may just roll the shoulders, just feeling them a little bit, because of the arm work. Really, I can feel a lot of work has happened in here, but you do still tend to find the shoulders get a little bit, not tight, but tired definitely as you work through that arm position. So I'm just going to grab my prop ready for when we get down into our lower leg lift. So make sure you've got yours with you as we change over to the other side. And then we're coming down into the clown, of course. So I'm going to support the head comfortably, maybe tucking in, maybe even a bit of extra support if I need it with that towel or cushion in there. Knees are coming up in front, and I'm here. I'm going to hover my feet up so they are in line with my tailbone, really, just in the middle of my hip. Reconnecting back to breath. As we exhale, we've got that slightly stronger, more connected breath. And then we begin on the exhale. So I'm breathing out to float. Breathing in as I lower down, but I'm not stopping and resting. Breathe out to lift. Breathe in to lower. Focusing on keeping pelvis stable and just allowing this arm to rest wherever feels most comfortable. With the knee lift, we just come as high as we can. So my range on this side isn't quite as high as on the other side, and that's fine. That's just normal. That's just the position of that leg within the hip. And it's a bit tighter this side, so just don't have quite as much range. So just go to where your maximum is. And we try and keep the feet roughly together, but if you find that your heels drift or your toes drift, either way would be okay. As long as there's some connection between the feet, that's going to be okay. I've lost count again on this. I always lose count. So normally in class, that's why I always get to tell you guys quite early on how many repetitions you're doing so that you can count for yourself, because There's just no way that I can keep count of them, but it's starting to feel like we've probably done about 15, so that's probably about it. And then just resting down. If you are still going, that's fine. And then if you are finished, you can just give that a little bit of hip release if you need to. And of course, we'll need to get our our knee support back in. If you don't have a knee support, you can just let the knee rest on the floor, it's fine. And again, make sure the head is comfortably resting here. So, coming into that lower leg lift then, let's prop ourselves here. So, for you guys, hopefully something not quite so hard, like I say, a little bit more relaxed. We want this leg to just basically feel supported and comfortable. So yeah, your cushion or your exercise ball is fine. Okay, so it's the bottom leg. I'm going to move this out of the way for this one so we can see a little bit more clearly. The bottom leg is foot flexed position, so trying not to let that foot be floppy or pointed. We definitely want it toes. You can see there the foot is pulling up towards the shin, and that's where we're going to be. So simple movement, but very strong. Breathe out to lift. Strong inner thigh pelvic floor connection particularly. But there's also assistance from deeper abdominals, even a little bit into the low back maybe, but mostly inner thigh pelvic floor working nice and strongly. So I'm breathing out to lift. I'm breathing in to lower. I'm not stopping and resting, of course. Once the leg is going, it's got that. It's always a strong leg then, and it continually moves. Again, top arm is just nice and relaxed. You can have it onto tummy and have that little bit of extra focus on breath, or just rest wherever is comfy. Okay, so I think we've got a few more on this side. Again, you're probably better at keeping count than I am, so I think a couple more here is probably going to be about it. Okay, let's do one more. Breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. That about the same as the other side. So we want to go into our stretch, of course, now. So that leg is lengthening away. I'm stretching out. This arm is coming over, and I'm using this hand to pull and encourage, and I make the body as long as possible, making sure we stay balanced. We do maybe 2 or 3 deeper breaths, so it's filling up the belly and the ribs more than normal. Okay, very nice. And from here we're just going to rest down. Okay, so we are going to be coming over onto our tummies next. So you can let yourself roll over, and if you do need to adjust your position so you can still see the screen, that's fine, but come and have a little rest over onto your tummy. Okay, so from here I'm going to just slide back a little bit because I want a bit of space for my arms. And I'm just going to relax the legs. The feet are slightly apart, but mostly relaxed. I'm going to take my arms out in front of me, like so. So I've got my palms facing towards one another and my thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. And rather than being completely rested right down here, I'm going to lift my head up, but also lift my chest slightly as well. Once I'm slightly lifted from the chest here, I've got my chin slightly tucked in, my nose pointing down towards the floor, my eyes looking down towards the floor. So I'm here, so I'm not allowing my head to drop in like this, and I also don't want to be doing this, adjusting my chin forward, putting pressure on the neck. So it's trying to find that happy medium position for the head. Okay, so with a nice straight arm, I'm going to keep my right arm here down on the floor, and that helps to support the weight of this arm as it moves. So I'm going to lift, draw back, keeping my thumb up there. Can you see my palms are facing out? And then that arm will return. Now this arm supports me as I pick up this arm and I draw this back around behind me. So this is my cobra movement, and this is my single arm cobra. And with the breathing, It's going to breathe out and in, out and in. And if you want to do both arms together, you'll need a little bit more strength through the low back, the bottom and the legs. You'll feel much more strongly here. As you hover both arms up, draw backs again. Breathe out there, draw both arms back, breathe in. Lightly touch but don't actually stop and rest, and then draw back and in. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. I'll give you a little bit of time to work through. We're not necessarily doing a set amount, but just see how it feels really. So that's what I would normally advise when we're doing our frontline posture work, is that we really just want to challenge it as much as we can. So to where, yes, we can definitely feel the challenge, but we're able to do that with good techniques. We don't start to work to the point where we're like compensating for the movement. So doing, you know, the technique may be wrong and the technique is suffering. So it's working up to that point where you're feeling the muscles get fatigued. Okay, so we'll take a few more here if you're still going. And of course, if you do need to stop at any point, you can always rest down. But I'm going to, like I say, leave a little bit of time here for if you're doing quite a lot of repetitions. And if you are ready to rest, of course, you can always just relax like you would do in class. Okay, so once you have finished, we're going to stay here. We're going to do a little bit more work on our tummies, but with our focus being more down into the lower body. So if you haven't already, you'll be placing one hand on top of the other and you'll be resting your forehead down like so. So I want to be quite soft here, so you can see I can actually wriggle the shoulders quite loosely. That's going to be nice and soft and gentle. And I'm going to start by just bending one leg into this position. So you'll see I've got a relaxed, flexed foot here. So I'm not pointing my toes up to the ceiling. I'm not really pulling my foot strongly to the front of the shin. My foot is just relaxed, and I'm going to focus on my heel, and it's going to go upwards, hopefully. Okay, so on this single leg, I'm going to do a single lift, breathe out, breathe in. And that's it. It's quite a simple movement, but that doesn't mean it's easy. So to get this heel to point up towards the ceiling, it's got to be from my bottom here. So I'm going to push my foot up, and my leg isn't really going to change position. It's generally going to say basically straight up, so I've got right angle on it, and I'm just trying to squeeze here, bum muscle, and then release down as I inhale. So lift and down. What I don't want to do is lift and twist like this, so the front of my hip is going up, and I'm actually doing that from twisting my spine and using my tummy and back muscles to do that. I'm actually staying fairly relaxed here, and I'm just squeezing my bum to push the foot up towards the ceiling. I don't know how many we've done, but that's probably about it. We need to change sides. If you don't find that your knee is actually lifting up, but you're getting this squeeze of your bum and this feeling of your leg lifting up, that's okay. You don't necessarily have to see your knee coming up to still get that activation. Okay, let's rest that leg. That's probably enough on that side. We're going to do the other side. So just bend the knee, foot is in a nice relaxed position, just where it naturally flops, and then I squeeze and release. Now, I've kept my head up and kept looking at the screen, but of course, for you at home, you should be head resting down, keeping shoulders relaxed, focusing on squeezing through the bottom. And I know, of course, occasionally when I'm talking about technical things, you will need to look up and see what I'm talking about, but most of the time here, we don't want to be putting strain into the neck, so we are keeping the head rested down, neck soft, shoulders soft. So my foot's drifting away a little bit there, but generally you want that heel to think it's going straight up towards the ceiling. I don't know how many we've done again, I've got no idea on this side, but I think it's probably feeling about the same as what we did on the other leg. In class, we'd normally probably do this for about 10, maybe 15 repetitions each side. So we're probably not too far off that, I think. Okay, so on our last one, then we're just going to push it through here, and then we'll just let that leg relax down. Now, before we come up and change our position, again with a nice relaxed upper body, tuck your toes under here, give your hips a little shake. So having a nice little rock with softening through the low back, hips are loosening. There. And we're going to take that down into the legs as well. So it's all nice and loose and relaxed. Okay, so I'm going to bring hands in by shoulders now. Let's come up onto hands and knees, and we'll have a little stretch out. So I'm going to roll into my cat, of course, first of all, pulling the tailbone under, curling through the spine, curling through the shoulders, and rolling out the other way. So it's just finding those two positions. And as always, never forcing it or straining our positions, but just really where it's comfortable, where that spine wants to go. Keep a bit of softness in those elbows so we're not locking them. And then I'll stop in the middle and do a bit of sideways hip shifting as well. And I'll just keep my head relaxed in center position too. Okay, I'm going to go up and down and side to side combined. Okay, so from here I'm now going to slide my hands forward a little bit, and then it's up to you. You can either go here into this high hip or into your child's pose, wherever you normally go. Let the head relax down. Again, make sure those elbows are slightly soft, and just take a couple of breaths here. Okay, once you've had a nice little stretch there, I'm going to bring hands in by the knees, use them to push you, and roll yourself up. From here, we'll be coming back onto our backs again. So if you've got a drink or anything with you, you want to have that on the way round, or just take a little moment to maybe get the shoulders roll out before you come on down, that's fine. So we'll just come into our nice comfortable relaxed position again. We'll be moving into the upper body, moving into the arms now. So if you do want to have your head support, then you can grab that. And when we get down here, of course, we've just got our knees bent and our feet on the floor, and we're nice and relaxed. I'm going to bring hands onto the belly, start to think about my breathing, and just notice that gentle rise and fall, which is my normal natural breath. Then I want to go a bit deeper. So I inhale, feel the belly rise, exhale, encourage the breath away. So I get this stronger, more connected feeling. That happens naturally from the breath. Okay, so I'm floating up my first leg and I'm going into my double arm circles. Let's have a look at the leg position first of all. So the knee here is directly above the hip. I don't want the leg to hang forward, particularly if I'm doing two leg work, and I don't want the knee to come in here so it curls the hips and really flattens the low back. I want to just be in that nice natural position. You can, like I just said, go into your double tabletops if you're normally working there, that's fine. And then we bring the arms up, palms facing towards one another. As we start our stretch back, I'm going to make sure that I keep my rib cage here connected down so I don't start to pop up through the ribs. I stay down, but I don't force the low back down. Stay quite relaxed through here. So, big stretch back as far as I can go, opening my arms wide around to the side and then sweeping up to the top. So as I work through here, I'm going to work up to probably about 15-ish as a maximum. And then I will of course change legs and go back round the other way. And if I'm doing my double tabletop, I'll be holding and also doing my 2 sets of circles. Or again, you may do a mixture of singles and doubles, so you'll know if that's what you normally do. So we're going to stretch back and round. I'm thinking about breath, so I start on an exhale, and I come up on an inhale. But if I lose that pattern as I go along, I'm not going to worry too much. As long as I just keep an awareness of my breath, I've got these nice big shoulder circles going on. That's the main thing. Okay, so I think we're into our last couple here. Okay, so I'm ready to change legs, so I'm just going to pause my arms, float down, pick up the other leg, and of course go the other way. Now, strictly speaking, with my breath, I would start, inhale here, and then exhale as I come round past the head. Because generally speaking, we are exhaling whenever the arms or the leg or legs are at their furthest point away from us. Of course, we usually breathe out when we're stretching away, but here when we're changing direction, and of course the breathing would follow that. So when you're out here at the top, that's where your exhale is happening. But like I said, on the other direction, don't worry too much. As long as you're aware of your breath and you've got those nice big circles and you're controlling the position of your leg or legs, if you're doing doubles, that's the main thing. So we've got a few more to go here. Okay, I think that's about it. So I'm going to bring my arms up for the final one and let them rest down and let that leg come down. I'm going to just stretch my legs out actually for a moment, because although the legs are static, it's quite hard having that static hold position coming into the front of the legs there. So I will just let those stretch out. And of course you can always stretch wherever you want to go. So if your back's feeling a little bit tight, you might want to go into that more tucked in position. Okay, wonderful. So wherever we are, we're going to come into a nice open hip roll now. So I take my feet out towards the edge of the mat and I let my arms rest, and you'll see they're on a slight diagonal. So for closed hip rolls, we go completely horizontal. Most of our backline work, we just let the arms relax by the side, but here I'm going halfway in between. And unusually I am putting palms down, just to make a better position for this one. So I'm going to breathe out, roll my hips over, breathe in to come back, breathe out and roll the other way. Now I've got my head turning towards the camera for better sound, but really your head would be in the centre. So now I'm looking straight up. Head is nice and relaxed, so I'm looking straight up. Head is nice and relaxed, shoulders nice and relaxed. And I'm just encouraging those knees to roll. And you can, as this left knee rolls over, my left hand can hold on there and help pull that over. Same to the right side here, if that feels comfortable. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to do another last couple of rolls here. So it's just really nicely loosening those hips and shoulders, and those arm circles should have released the shoulders, and these hip rolls are just releasing through our hips. So that's going to be about it. So I'm going to come now into a nice long stretch. So my legs are lengthening away. I take my arms overhead and I'm reaching from fingers to toes, stretching out as far as I can. Take a couple of breaths. I encourage that length, and then I do flexed feet the same. So push through the heels, pulling the feet up towards the shins. A couple of breaths. Okay, and release. Let's bring those arms around, and this time gather the knees in, either together or slightly apart, whatever's more comfy. Shuffle the hips so the back's nice and low or flat onto the floor. And then I do some nice little circles here. So I'm rolling through. Okay, let's go back around the other way. Okay, from here I'm going to pop the feet down and push myself up to sitting for our last few stretches. So come on over into your side position and push up from there, so we're nice and comfortable. And again, just sit as comfortably as you can. From here, it's going to be hands together, opening out those shoulders. So the chin is slightly dropping, my shoulders are opening. I'm taking a couple of breaths into the back of the body if I can. So I'm specifically encouraging the breath into the upper back. And releasing. And I come round to the back, so I'm just resting my hands to there. And I'm going to sit nice and tall again, so my back is nice and straight, and I draw my elbows towards one another. What I don't want to do is wrench my arms back, like it's not really nice on the shoulders. So what we want is more of an opening. So it's drawing the elbow back, or inward really, rather than, say, backward is not so nice. And again, I'll take a couple of breaths. Okay, and release. I'm going to come into my side bend, so supporting with one hand and the other hand comes over. I make sure that I don't lift up here, so my bum is stuck down and I'm really extending there. Okay, and release. I come over, nice big stretch, encourage that arm over. Okay, let's come back. We give those shoulders a nice little release and roll, so we're just wriggling out. And we are done. Good job, everybody. Thank you very much. And I will see you back at class soon.